Okay, so I've just set the recording off. Sarah, I'm just going to quickly go over some of the things that we've been chatting about. Now, we've had a bit of a tete-a-tete about your mental block right now. So we're training for the channel relay for next August, end of August, beginning of September. And right now, all I've heard this evening is that you can't do it. But I think you can. I believe in you. I think you can do it. You just got to beat the demons. If the knee thing flares up and if they turn around to you and say that you need to have it surgically, I was going to say surgically removed, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Some days I wish.
And knee replacement, then we'll cross that bridge as and when. But right now, we're going to pretend like it's not a thing and we're going to plough on ahead. All right. So you're okay. You swim with Ocean Lake Tribe, but you haven't been recently. Is that right? Just because their training's quite late and
I have been to the open water ones, the interval training in the open water, but they won't let me stay in the slow group. Steve makes me go in the medium group.
But why is he doing that, Sarah?
Oh, because the whippersnappers make me swim really fast.
Because he's trying to push you out of that comfort zone, and he's right.
I just get really anxious when he puts me in with the fast youngsters.
The problem is that if you stay in the slow lane, it's your comfort blanket and you like to plod. I like to plod too, but you'll never push yourself if he doesn't do that. So as horrible as it is, he's making the right decision for you.
I'm determined I'm going to go to the Thursday nights from now on, and Helen won't let me stay in the slow lane. She puts me in the medium lane, but then they overtake me.
Right, so let's think about this sensibly. That you've already got some hang-ups about a Thursday and going in that medium lane. That's already going to put a bit of a block on you.
Yeah, because I try and swim really fast, then after 2 legs I'm so out of breath and I get cramped.
Yeah, but you've had a whole day at work. 9 o'clock is quite late. You've struggled to get to sleep on the back of it, and you've got work the next day. So that's your first little sort of mental block. Then you've got the second mental block that you don't feel comfortable being in that lane because you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. That's the second block. And so all those blocks together will mean that you'll do 1 or 2 weeks and then you'll drop off. I know it because I do it myself. You're very similar to me. So we need to think about this sensibly. If we know we're going to fall off it, don't start it. We need to do something else instead. So where I said about doing your training, that training needs to remain consistent. So we need to find 2 days or evenings a week where you can go swimming. I know you've got loyalty to Ocean Lake Tri, and I'm certainly not suggesting you should lose that, but you need to put yourself first, and we need to make sure that you get those swims in.
Well, I do, because Cygnets is my local pool. It's crap. But the only time I can swim is either 6:15 in the morning or 7:15. So this week I did 2 6:15s, and then I swam at Charlton on Saturday. So
okay,
I did 3.
So you did 3. I think 2's more than enough.
Do you?
3, yeah. As long as you're consistent with those 2 swims and you keep it up, yeah, it's absolutely fine. When the open water season starts again, that's when we can crank it up to 3 or 4. Oh, careful. Sorry. We can crank it up to 3 or 4 and incorporate open water. And certainly you could think about winter, doing your 2 pool swims a week and then popping down to the sea and doing 10 minutes, 15 minutes a week. You don't stay there that cold. Well, don't then. You just do. It's a long way to go, but
I can go to labour on a Saturday morning.
Fine, do that. You need to get you need to stay in the open water all season. Even if it's just, even in peak winter, you'll only be doing 5 minutes. But you're going to be burning 3 times the amount of calories, and your immune system's going to be working through it. So those 5 minutes are more like equivalent to 45 minutes. All right, so don't worry about that. It's not about swimming in that temperature. It's about just being submissive in that. Submissive? That's not the word I'm going.
Submersive.
Thank you. It's been a very long day. Being in that water and getting your body temperature used to it, because it means that when you come round to April, your immune system, your blood, your respiratory system, everything's geared up, ready for you to do your qualification swim.
Because one of the reasons I come out of the lake is because I can only do 200, 400 metres, and I think, what's the point in going and just doing 200 or 400 metres?
Right now, we're on the cusp of closing for the winter. You could probably do 400 comfortably.
I could do a lap of the lake now.
Yeah, that would be fine. But I don't think you should push yourself to do anything more than that. It is literally just teaching your cardiovascular system and your respiratory system, your blood vessels, your skin, everything to be used to those temperatures. And it's the mental block as well of knowing that you can get in that water, you can be in control of your breathing, you're okay. When the water gets to below 10, yes, you can. When you get to below 10, it's not about swimming. It's about getting into the water, just getting your shoulders underneath, walking around, paddling if you can manage it, and then getting back out again. And it's all about this. It's all about getting warm again. So it's not about swim training at that point. You're training your body to go from cold to warm to warm to cold.
Can I ask you a stupid question?
Nothing stupid.
What do you eat?
Everything.
Like today, I had my sandwich at lunchtime. Because I'm coming swimming, I've had a nut bar that I got off the bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
Would you eat more than that before you swim?
Not before depending on what time I swim. If I swim first thing in the morning, I generally don't eat. I'll eat afterwards. If I'm swimming in the evening, I will eat a good hour. Yeah, about an hour before I swim.
But a reasonable amount of calories.
Yeah, it's proper evening. I have my proper evening meal before I go out for my swim, but about an hour before. Though, because you've had a whole day at work, you've burnt a natural amount of calories throughout your day, and so you're already on sort of low energy levels by the time you get to the pool in the evening. So you need to replenish those calories, get your energy burning back up again before you hit the pool. Once I've finished my swim, I will have a sugary treat and maybe a hot chocolate, and then I'll go to bed. Because that sugary treat will balance out your blood sugars and make you feel ready for sleep again. So where you said you've gone on a Thursday and you struggle, a hot piece of jammy toast, perfect sort of treat. Crumpets with butter on it.
Sweet things. I'm just.
Yeah, it's sugar. When you've burnt sugars, replenishing those sugars and carbs is what helps you feel satisfied in your tummy and help you get tired again to sleep.
Because for the last 22 years I've been a head or a deputy. This year I've taken a phased retirement. So I'm not, I go in at 8:30, till 7 o'clock in the morning, I finish at 3:30, I don't finish at 6:30. So I'm doing a lot less hours, and the idea was that I would then be able to do my training during the week, which I've never been able to do until now.
Yeah, but that also comes down to diet as well. As we get older, there's an argument that you don't need as many calories because you're not burning as many calories, but you're still working. The mental capacity and moving around and things still require energy. So you need to make sure that you're eating throughout the day, and you should then feel a little bit more energized in the evening. Not always. We all have good and bad days.
Because I put on weight, I'm just sort of starving myself at the moment.
But you shouldn't be.
And I keep thinking the more calories I use in swimming, and the less I eat, the more I'll lose the weight again.
But there's also storage, fat storage, and cortisol levels as well. If you starve your body and you still work out and you stress your body, you'll store on that fat, and it's almost like it goes in starvation mode. I don't like using that word starvation mode because the mathematics doesn't support starvation mode, i.e. if you don't eat as many calories as you consume, you will lose weight. This whole starvation thing is a bit silly. But my point is that if you were deliberately going without meals, you do begin to store fats in the wrong sort of way. Okay, so all right, so what should you eat? It all comes down to the individual person, and you do need to experiment with it. High carb foods like, protein balls, those sort of things, or tracker bars, brownies, chocolate brownies are a good one. Jelly babies are all really good things to have before and after a swim. And even having an espresso or just a black coffee 30 minutes before you swim, perfect. Opens up your blood vessels, makes you feel more energized. That's what caffeine does.
Because I think tonight, I was anxious about coming, and I hadn't eaten very much, so probably not doing my best, but I just thought, get here and do it.
Stop putting yourself down.
I know, that's why I want you to coach me, Laura.
All right, let's look at this then. So, first angle is side on over the water. What we're looking at here is where you're placing your arms into the water, and we're looking at body position as well. So you've got the natural swing of an open water swimmer. There it comes swinging around the side.
That's my good arm.
Okay, so we do need to look at where you're placing your hands into the water.
All right.
Now you've got your hand up here and your elbow's about to collapse down into the water. splish, splash, splosh. It's only a little splash. But you've reached too far forwards.
Yeah.
The shoulder doesn't like it, so the elbow sort of collapses down first, and then you end up splashing. And what that continues to do is that you lose your catch underneath the water. Where you should be entering into the water is with a little arc on top, like this. So I've got my elbow up, my fingers down, and I spear or reach my hand downwards and forwards into the water. And I continue going down. So I've got my shoulder higher than my elbow higher than my wrist, and my wrist higher than the fingertips. Downwards and forwards. Now you are doing that on both sides.
Side is definitely weak because I feel myself almost doing that in the water with my left side.
You're using, it is better on your right. You see that you've got your elbow up there, so you're using your shoulder muscles, you're using your lat muscles, and your trapezius, and quite a lot there, and it controls the arm over the water. The left arm is very much shoulder led. It sort of swings around the side.
Yeah, Helen used to say to me with this arm across the midline all the time.
We'll certainly have a look at that in a minute, but we certainly need to look at a little bit more rotation through the hip and getting a little bit more elbow led as you come up and out of the water, so that you begin to utilize that lat muscle and trap muscle and take a bit of pressure off the left shoulder, which is the one that you said was tingling a bit.
It's because I fell on this side.
But the whole swinging through the shoulder there is not going to be helping it.
See, my other arm's hardly coming out of the water at all.
Yeah, it's not. That's going to come down to rotation, which we'll look at in a minute. But big thing for this one to take away is that we need to be a bit more balanced through the recovery phase of the stroke. We need to get the elbows coming up a little bit more and balance out the power of coming up and over, which will really help your shoulders. As you're swimming for an hour in cold water, continually swinging through the shoulder, you're going to burn your shoulder out. So by lifting up, like a shopping bag, lifting the shopping bag up, you end up using this muscle a lot more. So you have much more power in the shoulders at the end of the swim. You need to bring your reach back in again. So we're overreaching a little bit at the front.
Yeah.
You just need to bring it back slightly.
So not go as far forward.
No, it want to be entering about there, look, and then you'd have your elbow up and down. I'll show you in another phase in a second.
Okay.
But not much to say. Oh, your head position.
Somebody said to me my head
is very low.
No muscles, no wrinkles in the back of my neck.
No, I'd agree with that. It's very low. This is where YouTube does not become our friend. So it looks like you've read the age-old thing that in order to get your legs up, you need to look down to the bottom of the swimming pool.
There's some swim school that I've been watching that's all about having your head.
Oh, that'd be total immersion.
That's it. Total immersion. That's what I've been watching.
Okay. It's what we call downhill swimming. So, head position is very unique to the swimmer. Your head size and weight is going to be different to mine. So your balance point through it is going to be slightly different.
Right.
But looking down, how are you going to know where the boat is? If you look forwards and down, so you've got the water sort of sitting on your hairline, you lift your head up slightly, on your peripherals, you'll be able to see the boat there. Even when you sort of breathe to the side and look, you'll still have it on your peripherals. But down here, you're blind. You'll not see a thing.
My sighting's terrible in tries.
I did notice that, I know there's a crossover, because when you started this first swim, you swam towards the camera and away from the mat. So I know there's something going on there, yeah.
So I'm swimming unevenly, you mean?
Yes.
Right, okay. Yeah, because when I look at my swim in the lake, I'm like that.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at underneath. Talk to me about your bubbles. It looks like you've got quite nice steady bubbles. So as soon as your mouth comes in the water, you're breathing
bubbles,
out.
Yeah, but I find in the salt water, I take in a lot of water.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, it's something that I'm quite aware of that I'm doing as well. I need to do a bit of research on that, if I'm honest, because I need to be aware of it too. And I don't have a problem in the pool.
Emma said, I said to her, how do you tolerate the salt water? She's like, emotion.
Yeah.
So I tried to swim with my mouth shut.
But even when you turn your head to the side, you're going to get natural drips in.
I Well, as soon as I try and change anything about my stroke, it all seems to go to pot.
I'm not too unhappy with the breathing there. I do think it could be a little bit more consistent. Actually, that shot there was perfect.
Are my arms,
Bubbles.
are they in the right way, or are my shoulders, am I losing my shoulders?
You are, yeah. I was just looking at the bubbles at that point. Let's come back. So let's look at catch and pull then.
Oh, I can talk to you forever. I'm going to have to pay for more sessions, Laura.
So you've come into the water with that overreach, and when you overreach, the shoulder doesn't like it, and the arm continues to collapse down. So when we think of what's the word I'm looking at? Action reaction.
Yeah.
Newton's third law. You're pushing the water down. That's the action, and the reaction will be a lift. Right? You're still pushing the water down.
Yeah.
Beginning to tilt backwards, and at that point, action, reaction. But it's happened extremely low underneath the water, so you've lost a fair foot of propulsion. Okay, so action, reaction, Newton's third law. If I jump up, well, that's gravity. Hang on, let me think of an action, reaction. If I pedal my legs on a bike, I will travel forwards. That's an action, and the reaction is the bike travels forwards. So your action reaction in this is that you're pushing the water down when you've put your hand in the water. That's not going to propel you. That's going to lift you. Action and reaction. But when I tilt my hand this way, so my fingers are down and I push back on the water, my action is that I push back, and my reaction is that my body moves forwards.
You've got your hand like this.
Yeah. Not too tilted. So if you put your hand forwards, that's it. That's your catch. Everything else comes from up on the top part of your arm.
And this one feels like I'm just doing that.
Possibly. So let me think. So you've got a cardboard box to the side of you, right? I want you to reach over to the very tilting edge of your box. Now slide the box underneath your armpit. There you go, done. Boom. But so that's what I was trying to get here, that you're just losing efficiency by pushing the water down. Now you're pushing it. Now you're pushing it this way.
Right, so I'm not
You're pushing it
my hand
down
I need
again.
to bend my hand, don't I?
And that's where your propulsion. You've got a catch there. That's when you've started propelling. But you propelled very, very low.
I'm losing this bit.
Yeah.
I'm not propelling till I'm like that.
You're right.
Yeah, one of the drills Steve keeps making me do is high arm and then
high elbow catch.
And then doing that with my fingers across the top of the water.
So hang on.
Going like that and then
So
how
do you move forwards?
With one arm. So you're swimming with one arm, with this arm doing.
That's more about, it's not about the bent arm phase underneath the water. That's more about the high elbow over the top of the water.
Elbows higher in a try, that's what you're saying.
That's the recovery phase though. That's the bit over here, not underneath, right? I would disagree with that.
Oh, fine. I mean, he hasn't watched me swim a lot. I only do a few sessions with him.
He is right that on the left arm, as we said, we picked up in that first shot, that you were swinging through the shoulder with a very flat arm.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that he's probably seen that too, and he's trying to get your elbow up a little bit more, which is exactly what I said.
And also to whack people, because I get panicked with swimmers either side. So he says to me, if you've got a higher elbow, they won't hit you because you...
It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. Sorry, no offense.
No, it's fine.
No, if you impact with somebody with your elbow, you're going to friggin' feel it. You're going to hurt your elbow, you're going to damage your elbow, and you're going to damage that other swimmer.
I get walloped all the time and kicked.
In triathlon. Triathlon and channel swimming are two very different beasts, and we need to be aware of that. So what am I trying to say? That he's not wrong. He's not wrong that, you have to be aware of other swimmers. It's impossible. That's what the whole point of a mass start is. But we don't have to worry about that right now when we're training for channel swimming, because it's only going to be you in the water. And as for elbow swimming, that's just, in my opinion, it's opening up violence, if I'm honest.
They wallop you, deliberately wallop you and kick you to get you out of the way.
I know they do. but you doesn't mean that you have to be that person.
I don't. I just panic and then I go on my back and I panic and don't swim.
It's not always done on purpose. It's not always. Sometimes it is very, very hard when you're trying to swim in one direction to know everything where everyone else is. Sometimes it is accidental. Sometimes it is on purpose. But if you're caught doing it, you'll be disqualified. It's not
Someone
sportsmanlike.
swim over the top of me.
But as for elbows, that makes no. I'm sorry, but it makes no sense. If you're elbowing here, that means that person is here. But if I've got my arm out here, they're an arm length apart. Does that make sense? So that it doesn't logically make any sense at all.
Here's the seeing. Get your arm up higher and then. Oh, that was it. You're blocking. So people aren't getting into your space because you've got more of a block. Because the worst one was I got.
But your arm's only going to be in that position for a split second. And if that swimmer is swimming alongside you, they will match your arm speed so that they're here at the time. So you see what I mean? Like they're sort of swinging round. That doesn't make any sense. It's certainly not something I think you should be focusing on. As for lifting up your elbow in the recovery phase, if anything, I would only do that to protect your shoulders, just to make sure that you're using much more of that lat muscle rather than through your shoulders. Okay, we've moved on. Hang on. I want to talk about the catch and the pull phase, and I'm going to use Rebecca Adlington. Everyone likes Rebecca Adlington. Right, let's slow her down.
Goggles that didn't steam up. I'm open behind 30 pairs of goggles. I hate them all.
So here comes Rebecca.
Look at her rotation. Oh no, she's not.
Alright. So here she's in that phase where she's got the shoulder higher than the elbow, wrist and fingertips. There's the catch. And then she pushes the water back. What I want you to focus on is the angle of her hands. They're not flat, they're not pushing down. From the moment she's in, she's tilted. She's already beginning to push back on the water. It's that action-reaction. Push, 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 push. All the way through. Tilt and push the water back.
She's rotating, isn't she? Really?
Right, that's what you're doing. So you're just pushing the bottle down. But she's tilted slightly and she's pushing the bottle back. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to you. We're going to look at elbows. From the right angle.
This is the bit I've never got. Keep your elbow higher than your wrist and your shoulder.
You will do with the right drills. So you can see a stark difference here.
Oh, right.
Bent arm, straight arm. Okay. So we need to get that elbow higher so that you're using a lot more of your muscles up at the top. At the moment, you're just using your forearm. Let me get rid of Rebecca. You do have a bend, but it's very low. Your bend should be up here.
Right. Like that and that.
All this is, okay, so all we need to change is how you enter into the water. Your brain is a very clever thing. When you overreach and you have your arm straight, your brain says push down. So that's why we're seeing this hand collapse down under the water and a very late elbow. If you enter the water with the tips of your fingers first and you reach downwards and forwards, your brain will say to you, push back. It will begin to do it all by itself. And by simply pushing back, here comes the elbow. Comes up all by itself. That is all to do with just how you enter into the water. Right, let's move on. Alright, so side on. Oh, it's really not that bad.
It is.
But this is where we begin to see really what's happening when you enter into that water. So there you go. There's that elbow collapsed. And you've reached up.
Right.
That elbow has still collapsed.
Yeah.
So it's taking the pressure off the shoulder.
That's good arm.
And now you can really see how you're pushing the water down. Now there's the catch. You can see it had a little wave.
Yeah.
Now, but it's happened a good 180 degrees underneath the 90 degrees underneath the water. We'll do it. We'll get there. And again, pushing down.
That's my forearm as well.
And then we have a crossover here. You've crossed underneath your body.
So I'm feeling, yeah, I can feel that. I think
that's what's not good news for your shoulder. Because the way the shoulder's meant to work is like sliding over each other, and you're almost making it pinch. It's inversion.
Is it my left one that I'm crossing over?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's probably why it's falling apart.
Now, I could say some stuff about your legs, but no, I'm not going to, because your legs are not important for what we're training for.
But they're ever so low. I always thought my legs were quite high up in the water.
I have got you slow at the moment. Yeah, they are a little bit low, but I think that's coming down to your arms are a little bit slower than what I would like them to be. So the slower you swim, the lower you sit in the water. I think as your natural arm picks up, it should start disappearing. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, this is a big angle. Here we're looking for crossovers and rotation. So here's that left arm. No, well, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. You're a bit wonky. There's your centre line. So no.
I've been trying not to cross over since Helen said that to me.
And the right's fine. I think the rotation's holding you back a little bit, because I shouldn't be able to see water between your arm and your ear, but that's all to do with how you rotate through your hips, because if you try and rotate through your shoulders, that's what creates that sort of gap. Ugh. You need to rotate through the hip, and so open your hip up, and then that becomes much easier to lift the arm over the top. So it's a rotational thing.
Am I rotating both sides? I feel like I'm only rotating one side.
You tell me.
Like it's
rotation,
like I'm not rotating on my good side, my right side.
You're rotated there. Yeah, that's fine. And there's your breathing side. I would actually say your rotation's actually not that bad, but you're rotating through your shoulders rather than through your hips. You're just sort of relying on swinging your shoulders a little bit.
I find that if I use a pool buoy, I rotate much better as soon as I take my legs out of the picture.
I'm actually going to say that your rotation is probably one of your best features of the stroke.
I've been practicing because Nicola, who's one of the coaches at Ocean End, she's much kinder than me. She keeps saying to me, you're not using these muscles, so you've got to use your big muscles, you're dependent on your arms all the time.
Then you've got to try and translate that, haven't you? How do I start using that muscle?
No, it's...
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to suggest is you need to come and see me again.
Yeah, I do.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think you need to do... I don't need to coach you for like 12 sessions or something stupid like that. I think because we're going to run out of time, I need to go through the drills with you.
Okay.
So rather than put that in tonight, I think we'll see you again sooner rather than later, and we'll start working on the drills. But let me bring this back to being the things what we need to work on. Okay. So the biggest thing I think you need to work on is, oh gosh, it's not an obvious one. I was going to say your recovery, so how you're entering into the water, because the way that you're entering into the water, that's recovery is this bit.
Okay.
Propulsive phase is this bit. Right. So I'm going to say the recovery is the biggest thing that we need to work on, because you're not lifting the arms up in the right way and you're overreaching at the front, that's then creating a problem underneath the water where you're entering.
Which is why I go like that, isn't it?
To be honest, the recovery part of the stroke is one of the easiest things to change. Easily, yeah, we'll do that in a session. I'm not bothered about that. Second thing I'm going to say is the actual catch and pull mechanism itself. So we need to get that elbow up a little bit more, and you using the right muscles to activate the pull. The third thing I'm going to say is holding you back is and I've never said this to a client, is mental capacity.
I know. Laura.
You're slogging, you're plodding, and so your stroke rate's a little on the slow side. And I can see you holding back. And I've never said that to a client before.
Because you're watching me, I'm anxious.
Of course you are, yeah.
My breathing is not like it would be if I was just swimming in the pool on my own. And I'm conscious someone's watching me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm constantly telling myself I can't do it.
Okay, well, we've got to get past it. I try and make these sessions as friendly as I possibly can. I
just tell it like it is, Laura. I'm quite tough. I get sworn and shouted at every day at school. So.
Right. So this then leads me into maybe you need to change the way you're being taught, because it has. But even in the squad coaches, if they're yelling at you and being blunt and telling you like it is, that's created an anxiety.
I think Steve is really anti the swim coaches that the young girls have because they beast them, as he says. And he said it's all about encouragement. So they're not harsh.
No,
I'm probably my own worst enemy.
I like to. I'm glad that you said that about him, but it's very different. We need to take competitive pool coaches completely out of the equation because they do need to be beasted. It's not. That's why I don't work in that environment, because it doesn't come naturally to me. But they do, because in order to get to the level of national champion, county champion, Olympics, you have to want it. And the only way that you're going to learn to have to want it is by losing it. I know that sounds psychologically, for me, I don't find it very easy to coach people like that, and that's why I'm not working in that environment. And there are plenty of other coaches that are, and much better than me. But he's wrong when he says that they need encouragement. You need the right amount of encouragement. You need the right amount of tough love. But that's not us.
So my thing is, put me in the middle lane, and we have all the guys who are much fitter, much younger, much faster. And I just panic thinking